Hello everyone. Today I am finally packing up my greenhouse with the perennials that I'm going to keep outside on the deck over winter, which I'm glad I have a good amount of them so that I don't have to carry them downstairs like the dahlias. However, some of these will also be stored in the garage, and I will go ahead and show you all the plants and where they're going to go in just a second. But as a quick reminder, and I'll link down the video where I set this up, I'm not using the greenhouse really for any additional protection from the cold. When you're leaving plants outside over winter in a pot, you want it to be 2 zones hardier than your current hardiness zone. So I'm 6A, I would want something 4A if I was going to leave it outside in a pot. So the only plants I'm putting in here are 4 or 3 hardiness zone. I am going to test a 5 just to see how it does. Now again, your hardiness zone is based on averages, so sometimes the average might be higher, sometimes it might be lower. Last winter was very mild, so I'm assuming I could have left some things outside that I normally couldn't, and they would have been fine. I think this winter, I don't know if it's colder than average, but we are supposed to get a lot of snow, which does help with insulation. But still, I'm gonna do just 3s and 4s in here, test 1 5, and then anything that's 5, 6, I don't think I have anything that's a 7. Those will be going down to the garage because I just don't, again, rely on this for extra heat protection. I'm relying on this for extra moisture protection, because what has killed my plants most of the time over winter and early spring is too much water leading to root rot, or the tubers to rot, or the bulbs to rot. So that's what this does. So let me go ahead and I'll take you around and show you which plants are going in here and which ones are going to go downstairs, and then we'll get her all packed up. I still need a name for her. Let me know a name for the greenhouse. I did already move my flavored mints in here. I just did this yesterday, so I cleaned out all of my herb garden. I'm gonna see how many of these I can save. I don't know if they're all hardy to zone 4. I think some of these are 5, so we'll see. But I have my basil mint, strawberry mint, chocolate mint, pineapple mint, banana mint. What else? I know there's an apple mint, an orange mint. I got these from Mountain Valley Growers, most of them. So because they're such unique flavors, if I can keep them alive over winter, I'm going to. And I put these in this spot on purpose. So this is the corner of the house and the brick wall. Once I put the additional pots in here, these will have the most insulation instead of being right next to a wall that faces outwards instead of right up against the house. We'll do a sweep of the current state of the deck because I feel like when you're working in a small space, things get messier before they get cleaner when you're trying to organize. Oh, and yes, I did put the celosia branch that I cut off into this pot. 1, because some birds are still feeding off of it, and 2, I might decorate it with some Christmas lights or ornaments so that I have this when I'm looking outside through the windows. So we'll see what I end up doing with that. But first, let me come all the way around to the back here. So I have 3 pots. It's these 3 right here that all have peonies in them. And you're probably thinking, well, I didn't see any peonies in your garden this year, and that is correct. So I planted them this spring. They did come up above the soil, but they don't, bush out and flower in the first year. Now, I also, because I can't just handle a pot with a little sprout in my garden, I planted a bunch of annuals around them. So maybe they got too much water and the peonies rotted, but I'm not sure. We'll find out next spring. So these are all hardy down to zone 3. And the person who sent them to me said that it's not the cold, it is the moisture over winter that does the most damage. So these are going to go in the greenhouse, and they're going to go right on the edge because, again, they're the most cold hardy. So if they're on the wall that faces the outside instead of like the brick wall or the house, I think that's the best position for them. I also think I'm going to leave them on their little plastic lifts just to, again, protect the deck over the winter. Oh, geese. So here I have 3 of my hydrangeas. These are all hardy down to zone 3. I have 2 tiny quickfires, which, assuming they survive winter, will be the 3rd year in my garden. I've overwintered them twice now. And then this one is the Firelight Tidbit. So all 3 of these are panicle hydrangeas. Panicle hydrangeas are usually the hardiest. They can handle the cold weather the best. So if you are in a zone similar to mine, maybe a little bit colder, and you've had a hard time with macrophylla hydrangeas, try a panicle. Now, I know some people don't think they're as pretty, because most of the times their blooms are white, but a lot of them turn to a really beautiful pink color in the fall. So I highly recommend some panicle hydrangeas. These, again, are hardy to zone 3, so I'll put them more on the outside. This group here of hydrangeas, which I think some are a combination of macrophylla and serrata, but these are all hardy to zone 4. So again, that is 2 zones below where I am in pots. They will go into the greenhouse. I'm gonna harvest the blooms off of them to dry. I don't know why these still look so green. Honestly, I would normally wait until they drop all their leaves. Maybe I'll leave these out a little bit more because if they have green leaves, they are still photosynthesizing. But at the same time, I also just want to get things wrapped up and put away. So we'll see. I might think on these. But these 4 are hardy down to zone 4. And as a reminder, all of my hydrangeas are compact hydrangeas. So the largest one I think gets to 3.5. It might be 3 or 3.5 feet. I have some that only get to 1.5 feet. Let me check which ones these are in case you're curious. So Let's Dance Can Do. I know I have 2 Let's Dance Arebas. Oh, I'm sorry, there's 5 back here. Tough Stuff Top Fun. And then the last one that is also hardy to zone 4. That's Areba. Let's Dance Sky View. This is one of my favorites this year. It bloomed like crazy. So all of these are also going to go in the greenhouse. And then luckily these 3 are the only ones that are hardy down to zone 5. So what I think I'm going to do is test keeping one of these in the greenhouse just to see how a zone 5 hydrangea does in the greenhouse this year. I will put it again up close next to the wall of the house to give it the most insulation. I just need to figure out which one. This is the second year for this one. I don't know if I want to, well, I'm going back and forth because I don't know if I want to kill one that has already been here a couple of years, but at the same time, I think a more established plant has a better chance of surviving. So I'm also going to think on that. And then I have to get these perennials out of here. The one with the red leaves there, the Scentlandia Sweet Spire, that's the only one that's hardy to zone 5. I love that one very much. And I might move that one to the garage deck. So that one is definitely going in the garage, but all the rest of these are hardy down to zones 4. I have a Weigela, I have a hibiscus, and then I can't remember what a mock orange over there. And those are all hardy down to zone 4, so these are gonna stay up here. So the first ones going in are the peonies, and again, I'm taking the lifts with them. And because these are one of the hardiest plants I'm overwintering, it's going to go right there. So they will be on this end of the greenhouse. So let's get all 3 of those in there. I might start stacking if I don't have enough room, but these are in large pots, so they will go in the first layer for sure. Second peony. And I'm gonna put this one a little bit on the bar so it helps hold it in place. And the last peony. This one is not as heavy as the other ones, but I'm gonna put it near the back here. All right, I have decided to go with the Tough Stuff AHA as the zone 5 hydrangea test, because I do think the more established it is, the better chance it has. So this one is in its second year in my garden. The other ones I just planted this year. It's going up against the house for the most heat protection and in this corner, which also has a good amount of heat protection from being so close to the house and the wall. All right, let's go grab the other zone. Actually, I'm going to do the zone 4 first and line them up against the back there, and then the zone 5 will be in front. Again, putting the least hardy plants closest to these walls, most hardy plants on the edges. Hi guys! Am I confusing you that I'm putting the garden away? I'm sad about it too. I did read that pigeons don't migrate, which means they will stay here over winter, but also means I will be extra nervous for them over the winter. So a zone 4 Let's Dance Areba. Back here, another zone 4 Let's Dance Areba. Let's Dance Areba is the only one I have duplicates of, but now that I kind of know which ones I like the best, I think next year I'll be adding more of my favorites. A zone 4 Tough Stuff Top Fun. A zone 4 Let's Dance Skyview. And I'm just putting these pots as close together as possible so they can act as insulation for each other, hopefully. And the final zone 4, which is the Let's Dance Can Do. All right, now I need to grab the other perennials that are zone 4, and then I will line them around the edges with the zone 3 hydrangeas. Laying down the lifts. And I will link these below, but I think these have done a fantastic job of protecting my deck. This is either the first or second year I've used these specifically, but this year I went kind of crazy and put every single pot on something, whether it's a wheeled lift, a lift like this, just to protect the deck. We have a Zone 4 hibiscus, a Zone 4 mock orange, and a Zone 4 Weigela. Now, Zone 3 hydrangeas. Zone 3 firelight tidbit. Let's see if I can scooch this over. Maybe fit 2 more in there without having to start stacking, but we'll see. And then the 2 Zone 3 quickfire, tiny quickfire panicle hydrangeas. So that one definitely fits in there pretty snug. The most space might be over here. So the other tiny quickfire, Zone 3, I think that'll be good enough. I can still zip it on top. So in here now are all of the plants. I need to double check the front deck, but I'm pretty sure this is it. So what I'm going to do in these open spaces, that is why I save my grow bags and keep the root ball of the zinnias and the soil in there, because I'm going to use those as additional insulation. So essentially, everywhere that there is an open spot, I'm going to put in a grow bag. And again, nothing's in the grow bags that I'm planning to keep alive. They're just full of soil. 1 grow bag here. And then pushing that up real snug. I'll squeeze one in this open spot. And then let's see if we can get this last one in between these. Oh, there we go. All right, so those are the grow bags I had to push in here. I might add like burlap or something in here, just see what I have inside, just for a little bit of extra protection, but this is it. I'm probably gonna leave it open for now. And then once it starts to really drop in temps, I will close it up. Now, as far as maintenance for the plants in the greenhouse, the last time I had this greenhouse set up, well, the other one that wasn't quite as large, it was incredibly low maintenance. So if we happen to get a lot of snow, I will come out here and make sure that I knock it off the top if there's any sitting on it, just so this doesn't collapse. It's not the sturdiest thing in the world. As far as watering, again, you don't want your plants to dry out completely because that can cause the plant to die. So I will come out and check maybe like every 2 to 3 weeks to see if they need to be watered. If it's below freezing, I won't do that because they are frozen solid. But basically last time it was so humid in there, I didn't water at all. And sometimes when it, again, wasn't too freezing, I had to come out and open these a little bit because I was afraid it was getting too humid. A mistake I made in the past was opening this too soon. Again, I think it is more the early spring rain before the spring is warm enough for the water to evaporate fairly quickly, but it's cold, it's rainy, pigeons are hanging out, but it's cold, it's rainy, and that tends to rot these the most. So I do know that I need to keep this closed longer than I did before. So now let me show you what it looks like and show you what else I have to move, but I'm probably not going to move it right yet. So here we are, all set up. On the outer layer, I have the 3s. I'm using the empty grow bags, well, empty of plants, but full of soil grow bags on the outside for more insulation. I will, again, try to fill in some of these holes with whatever material I have inside. Then we move on to the 4s, more up against the wall and the house, and then a few 5s in there as well to test. So I honestly thought I was going to have to carry a lot more downstairs, but this is perfect because the dahlias are already taking up more space than I had imagined they would. So we have these 2 hydrangeas. Oh, I do have an azalea back there that I think is Zone 6, and then my Scentlandia Sweet Spire. But, I mean, that's an annual. The evergreens are staying here. That celosia branch is just something I cut off. Oh, and I saved the hydrangea blooms that I'm going to dry. Now, as far as preventing this from blowing away, like I said, I set some of the pots down on the bottom green frame, but what helps the most is that couch gets shoved up really tight against there. My chair will get shoved up really tight on this corner. The table will get shoved up against it, basically shoving everything up against this. And then because it's shorter than the wall, it really doesn't have any issues blowing away at all. So that's going to be everything. I'm excited to have this all set up now. Again, I haven't normally put plants that are still this green in here, but they are taking too long. So I will keep you updated on how this goes. I don't think I'll be checking on them too much or doing too many tasks, if any, throughout the winter. But if anything changes, I will keep you updated. And then next spring, we'll see which ones survived and which ones didn't. But fingers crossed, everything in here makes it till next year. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's anything else you do, if you do something similar with a plastic greenhouse, or even if it's in a shed, if you're adding any extra insulation to the plants you're trying to overwinter in containers, let me know. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. I can't tell for sure which ones these are. I can easily identify Stevie, because she has the white wing. There's an all-white pigeon I call Blanca, but then most of them just kind of look like this with their gray bodies and the darker wings. But you still mean a lot to me, even though I can't recognize you. I'm so sorry.